Hi everyone, this is Maggie from My Favorite Things, and this is Boomer. He just got it back about an hour ago and his hair is starting to dry a little bit. Anyway, look how cute he looks. Isn't he adorable? Oh my gosh, he's so cute. Well, anyway, I just spent 16 seconds talking about my dog, but what I really wanted to talk to you about is luxury handbag purchase and what I wish I'd known before I started buying them. Some of the practical things to consider before you spend your hard-earned cash into buying some of these bags. If you like this kind of videos, please give it a thumbs up and please subscribe. I wanted to talk to you about some of the things that I wish that somebody had told me before I started purchasing luxury handbags. And I want this is some of the things that I think about, and sometimes I really do listen to myself and sometimes I don't. But in this day and age, and so what I wanted to say is, if you have any, I'd love to hear what you have to say. Let's get this, I'd love to have some discussions going, some friendly discussions going about some of the, advice that we can give each other. But one of the things that I think is happening currently with all the different kind of social media like YouTube and Instagram, I made many purchases based on, YouTube made me do it, right? Especially in this day and age where with all these social media, and it seems like the designers are coming out with new handbags and new SLGs all the time, every couple months, and so many choices. And it seems like, one year it's this bag, it's the it bag, and then 3 years later it's the other it bag, and they discontinue it, and it's like a never-ending cycle. So I think it's really important. And then I'm really telling this to myself too. I think it's really important for me to think about what's going to work for my lifestyle and not really think about, what's in trend. I remember when some of these handbags would be like the it bag, right? Everybody was talking about it. And then the fashion house would discontinue that item. And initially it would like go up in price, and then it would drop in price and not many people talk about it. And it's then we're off to next bigger and better thing, quote unquote, right? And it's expensive. It can really take a toll on your finances if you don't watch out. So of course, if you got all the money in the world, all more power to you. And but for most of us, we work very hard to purchase a lot of these items that we love. So here it goes. So number one thing is think about your lifestyle and what you would use it for. So when you're watching some of these people on YouTube or Instagram, showing their beautiful Coco Chanel and a beautiful lambskin in like a beautiful, yellow color, or, pink color, and you go, oh my gosh, that's absolutely gorgeous. I want that. Think about how that would look with, for me, jeans and t-shirt, and going to Costco or eating those. I love to eat those little samples at Costco. I don't know about you. And I can just see myself spilling that thing in this lambskin and being like freaked out about it. Think about those things. I try to imagine a particular bag that I see and that everybody talks about, and I try to imagine me wearing it in like my daily life. And if you can't, maybe that's not the bag for you. If you have, 3 children under the age of 5 and you're juggling all that stuff, how often are you going to use that tiny little bag that barely fits anything, right? Or maybe you do because you have a separate diaper bag. I don't know. But anyway, think about that. And the other thing is, think about the practicality of the physics of the design of these handbags and SLGs. For example, the weight. If you have a shoulder problem, or if you don't like anything heavy, don't get the most expensive, the expensive handbag that weighs 5 pounds by itself with nothing in it, right? The hardware size, if they have a big chunky hardware in the very front of the handbag because it's a beautiful design, then perhaps that's not the bag for you because it's gonna weigh 3 pounds without anything in it. And you're gonna have to carry that around everywhere. If you're going from, you know, a car to the office and you set it down, maybe it's not a big deal. But for, you know, for those of us that have to go to the grocery store, and that's like mainly what we use these handbags for, I'm not gonna wanna carry something that's got a huge hardware in the front that's gonna weigh so much. The other is things with really wide bottom, like Petite Noe, which I absolutely love, and I might just, you know, but every time I look at it, I know how wide the base is. And I think to myself, and it cinches and it doesn't, you know, I think to myself, am I going to be okay with that thing sticking out, you know, this far from my body? And is that something I'm okay with? I don't know, because, you know, and if possible, go try it out. If you can, go try it out. If you can't, then you try to think about what sort of bags that you really have been gravitating towards. Like if you've always liked something that's smushy and not very structured, don't go for the most structured bag as, you know, one of your luxury items, unless you're going to use it as just occasional bag, right? If you wanted it to be like an everyday bag, you know, think about what works best for you. The other is strap thickness. That's the other physics. If you have a big bag with a very thin strap, it's going to dig in most likely, right? Especially if it's just one thin strap. So think about the width of the strap versus the function of the bag. Opening accessibility. How important is that, and how important is security in your everyday life? If you live in a suburban area and you go from your car to the grocery store or to a store and there's not many people just bumping around you all the time, you know, maybe it's okay to have completely wide open tote bag that you don't have to worry about somebody stealing things out of your bag. I know that when I'm in Manhattan and I'm going through Times Square, I don't want to have anything that doesn't have a zipper or some sort of a clasp. Even when there's a clasp, I'm like holding on to it because you never know. And same thing with when I'm traveling in Europe. You know, if I'm walking around in the street in Barcelona and there's tons of people, you know, I'm not going to want a huge bag that's completely open to walk around in. So think about the clasp, how easy it is to get into, how important that is to you. Top handle versus crossbody. So I know that for me, top handle by itself it's a no-no. That is just too much hassle, too much fussiness. So I like bags that I can go put it over my shoulder. If it has many different ways of wearing it, you know, even better. The crossbody bags, sometimes I feel a little self-conscious wearing crossbody because if you're sort of flatter chested, then maybe it's not a big deal. If you have a little bit of a curve, you know, wearing it crossbody, just like cutting it right across, it could accentuate some of the curviness, and maybe that's not something you want, or maybe that is something you want. I mean, for example, I tried the Chanel Gabrielle bag, sort of, you can wear it over the shoulder, but you can also do like a double crossbody, like one over the shoulder and one across like that. I didn't like the look of that on my body. So if you see some of the leather bags or canvas bags, they will get soft unless it's got an internal structure to it. You know, what you see when you first see it isn't going to be how it's going to look as you continue to wear it. So I highly, highly recommend that you look at pre-loved markets. Go to eBay, go to Fashion File, Real, any kind of, you know, Yugi's Closet, and try to see what these bags look like when they've been well worn. Because then you'll have an idea how soft they can get. Go to Purse Forum and see some pictures of how some of these bags wear over time. Because what you see when somebody unboxes a handbag isn't what it may look like a year down the road when you've been using this bag every single day, or, you know, unless you've got so many bags that you can rotate and you don't really care about. Another thing, material and the color. Suede is more likely to get, especially if it's against your body or whatever, you can get color transfer much easier. Smooth leather versus pebble leather. If it's really smooth, glossy leather, you can see the finger scratches, fingernail scratches much easier. Any kind of cloth material that's not coated or treated, it may be hard to get stains out. If you spill something, it's not just easy to wipe off. So look at your lifestyle. If you've got little kids, or if you know I know, I go get some, I spill coffee, I spill ketchup. I mean, I'm almost 55 and I still, eat like I'm 2. So, so think about that. Don't get so swayed on oh my gosh, this is the most beautiful thing and it's making my life complete kind of thing that you see in the social media. Think about your lifestyle. Another thing that I thought was interesting is I never used to worry about weather when I had my cheap handbags a long time ago. I didn't even know people worried about it. I didn't even know anything about Vachetta leather staining with water and oil and weather and all that. I didn't know that, with lambskin leather, you might have to worry about those kind of things. So think about how would you would use it. If you're looking for an everyday bag, and you're going to use this every single day, unless you're okay with the stains, which is also, some people are fine with it. It's like, I don't care. I have a bag that my Neverfull, I don't care if it gets stained. I love the character of it. Some people don't. So think about that. If the zippers that are dome-shaped, purses that are dome-shaped, zippers are usually, not all the time, harder to pull, close and open because it's dome-shaped versus a straight line zipper. Hardware scratches. Look at the design. Is it the kind of design that's going to get scratches easily? There are certain clasps where there's a little clasp right here and you slide it in. That hardware may get scratched over time. Are you going to be okay with that? Security, again, I talked about the security of the bag and your lifestyle. The other thing, final thing that you might consider is resale value. And maybe you don't care and you just want to buy whatever, that you love at the moment. But usually for me, I might like something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I want to get this so badly. But if I wait about a few months, or if I sort of wait a little bit, I might fall out of love with it. We're sort of fickle. We might love something, and then with time, you might not. So I think for me, for some people, they will say, buy whatever you think you love. Well, what I love sometimes changes. So for me, resale value is important. So look at eBay, look at some of these pre-loved sites and see what the resale values are, what they're going for. Also know that sometimes some of the items that they never discontinue, like the Chanel Classic Flap or the Louis Vuitton Neverfull and the Speedy and some of these things, they keep raising the prices. So if you hold on to it long enough, it might be okay. So some people see it kind of as investment, but although it isn't. But there is I would say 85, maybe even 90% of the bags, other than those few items, are things that it will eventually drop in price unless it's at the very hype of, people are trying to discontinue, the company discontinues it, and then people go nuts about getting it. And then with time, sometimes that hype kind of goes away and then it drops in price. So like it's edgy designs. Sometimes it may be hot now, but then it might not later. So I want you to sort of, I want you to sort of think about some of these things before you spend your hard-earned money. I hope this was helpful, and I'd love to get some discussions going. Tell me what you think, and please subscribe. Okay, bye. Have a nice day.